Hey, everybody. Welcome to another grad interview. I would love to know if you guys were here last night. Maybe you joined us for our free training last night where we talked about how to become a food photographer for food bloggers specifically. So if you were able to join us, that's awesome. Um, Alicia is a food photographer for food bloggers. And so we wanted to bring her in to talk to you guys really about her experience. So not only are you seeing like the practical, application and you're learning how the whole thing works, but now you get to talk to and hear from a grad who has applied all of this in the real world. And you're going to hear her story. And the amazing thing about Alicia is not only is she an incredibly talented photographer who's been photographing food for food bloggers for the last couple of years, but she's also one of our coaches. And we love it anytime we can get one of our coaches in front of our prospective students. So you really get a chance to get to know really more about Pretty Focus and who we are as a team as you're learning and you're deciding if this is the right step for you. So Alicia, thank you so much for joining me today and for just kind of sharing your experience with everybody here today. So why don't you start by telling us what you were doing before Pretty Focused?
Well, before Pretty Focused, so I came from the photography world. I actually had a degree and like about, 12 years of experience. And I was doing product photography in the corporate world. And that just wasn't working out really well. Like I didn't have the freedom to have my own schedule. Going to even like personal family things was a big issue for them.
Wow.
And so I was like, I need to get out of here. So I left that job. Luckily, I was in a place where I could leave that job. And then a few months before I found Pretty Focus, I actually started looking at food photography. And then I started seeing the ads pop up for Pretty Focus. I'm like,
what?
yeah, honestly, I was like, do I want to do this? So I was talking with friends about it. I'm like, it's an investment, but I don't know. And I finally did it. I just like jumped all in, and it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life.
I love that. I'm so glad that you jumped in because you're on our team now. And I just love that you're such a rock star helping our students go through this. So I think that's amazing. So corporate photography, what was that like?
So it was for a company that buys used luxury handbags and stuff like that. So we're talking Chanel, Hermes, like Louis Vuitton, all of that. They'd clean them up and then we would photograph them for their website. And so it was going into a studio, having to shoot. My KPIs were like over 100 items a day and just go and go and go. Lots of overtime. So sometimes it was 10 hours a day
Oh
of
my
just
gosh.
working and working and working with only like a half hour lunch. And, I ended up getting injured and having like a whole workers comp thing. So it was just not the right fit for me. And I did that for less than a year.
Oh,
And
I'm like the handbags were luxurious, but the job was not.
no, we were in like a room. It was like a few studio little slots and no sunshine unless we
Oh
went to like
no.
the lunchroom. It was brutal. Like it was brutal
Yeah.
on physically and emotionally and mentally, just not what I wanted to do.
And did you have to edit all of those photos or what were you shooting tethered? Did
I was
okay.
I was shooting tethered. We did have editors, so I could just shoot, go, send them off to the editor at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, holding a camera for that long is what gave me the injury. Like 10 hours straight sometimes. Like, ugh.
Oh gosh, no kidding. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's like a wedding day every
Yes,
day, every day
yeah,
of the week.
yes,
Holy cow.
yeah.
Wow. So when you saw Pretty Focus, you were like looking into food photography, you saw Pretty Focus, you talked to your friends about it.
Mhm.
What was it that made you take that final leap to join?
It was. I'm trying to remember. This was like almost 3 years ago. um, yeah, it was just try I mean, I take my time with any decision, like new camera, even though I want it, I'm like, no, I gotta think about this, like money wise and everything. My husband was always really supportive. He was like, I trust you, whatever you want to do. And what a lot of what made me hesitant was I'd taken other food, like not food photography, but photography courses that never really panned out. And I kept looking at it and seeing that you guys um, put us right in front of the clients right after we graduate was like a huge thing that made me think, okay, I think I can do this. Like that's something completely different because most photography courses are just like, here are the skills, good luck.
Mhm.
Not finding anybody, and you never find anyone. So that was a huge difference. And I think that ultimately was what made me jump on board and make the investment.
Nice. Yeah. Being able to connect with potential clients, I think, is a huge thing that attracts a lot of people, is that they want to do this, but then knowing how to market yourself, knowing where to get clients is huge. And so, we are built on those three pillars, as you know, as a coach, our curriculum, our coaching, and our community really sets Pretty Focus apart from all other courses. So it's really cool, again, to hear somebody else come in and say, I've taken other courses, they didn't pan out, but Pretty Focused did. And I love hearing that. So what have been some, maybe you had experience going through the course. I mean, you came in with 12 years of plus of experience. You'd been working as a photographer. How was it going through that curriculum? Um, how was that? Was it challenging? Did you learn something? Was it all new? Was it old stuff, boring stuff? What was that?
Absolutely not boring.
Oh,
You
good.
um going I mean, at the beginning I was like, okay, I always like to listen to other people how they approach photography. And I'm very
Mm,
open-minded and I love learning about many things. So to start through and the way you've laid everything out, it was super easy to follow, but also like reminded me of things I had forgotten. But I mean, just the basics, of course, I knew of photography, how to use the camera. But once we got, I mean, that was just one module. And once we got to module two, it was like a whole new world.
mm,
I mean, I knew basics of composition, but learning specifically how to do it for food tutorial photography was great. And that was the learning I had to do. Um, and you lay out everything so well, and the lessons have just gotten better and better with time. Like I've seen every update since then. And
love that.
and even today, yeah, even today I'll go and watch like the composition or like your updated Lightroom and I'm just like, this is perfect. Like I'm finding out things, like I'm improving my photography as I go, even as someone with now, oh my gosh, 15 years, no, 16 years. I don't remember of
That's
photography
insane.
and being a coach for a year and a half. It's like I'm still learning and I
Yeah.
love that.
That's what I love about you ladies, is that you are so invested in Pretty Focus that you go back and you go back and you watch the updates on your own, because I mean, you're wanting to learn yourself, but you want to be the best for our students and to make sure that you can coach them well, and that you're like on top of like, okay, this is what they're hearing. Let me like make sure that I'm, that we're aligned so they don't hear any confusing or conflicting, whatever, things on their coaching. So it really helps us all try to stay on the best page as best as we can in a massive course like this. So I love
Yes.
that you ladies are constantly learning, and then you are taking that and helping our students with it. That's incredible. So what have been like some of the highlights for you since graduating?
Oh my gosh. Well, the freedom to kind of make my own schedule, to take time off without really having to answer to anybody. Um, I guess I should say, so I am I do recipe development and I sell like my recipes in a shop. That's the route I kind of took instead of doing recreations, which is taking old recipes from bloggers and shooting those. Um, Honestly, I'm terrible with deadlines. And because I've been doing living my second life the last few months as an actress, it was great to be able to do that and take the time off and, relax and not have to worry about that aspect. That's been a highlight, seeing my photos online or like in my news feed, like going through like, oh, that's a good photo. Oh, I took it. Like, not to brag. Yeah.
Girl, brag, celebrate those things. That's awesome.
Those are, I mean, we've had the ability to travel more. My husband and I, we've been on, since I started Pretty Focused, 3 trips to Europe. So, I mean, and we have, we ran into some like fertility issues. So knowing that the time when we want to do IVF or adoption or whatever, I have the ability to save money for that. Like that's huge.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh, that would be yes, absolutely. So the highlight reels are always awesome, and we love to talk about the highlight reels, right? That's kind of where we all seem to land. But tell me some of the challenges that you've faced over the last few years. Maybe whether it was, like with going through Pretty Focused, what were challenges that you've had, or even as a business owner, what were some challenges?
In the recipe selling game, it's figuring out which recipes are going to sell or not. Like, I think there has been a little bit of a shift lately, but it's really, I can't even say it's like a big challenge, because I like those things, because I like to investigate, okay, what can I do to fix this? It's having accountability for yourself. It's not just blaming the market. And really, like, recently I've had to look at things. I'm like, okay, well, it's recipe execution. Like, you have to charge the prices I do, you have to be perfect on recipe execution. And when I'm really like in the zone and I know it's well tested and everything, it's like perfect and it sells right away. And I mean, I think, and honestly, like, you kind of have to blame Pretty Focused for raising those standards for bloggers. Like, we have amazing photographers producing this amazing work, and we are raising our own bar. And so having to do that and not just throw out a recipe and be like, okay, I hope it sells. It's learning that mind shift, I think, is the challenge. But again, I like that challenge.
Well, I think that that's a challenge for any business owner, because one thing that maybe not everybody realizes, or it's a shift that they have to make, is that they're a student in a course and they graduate. But when they graduate, they're not just simply a graduate of a online course. Is now you're a business owner, and there's a whole new realm with that goes along with it. Especially if if your business structure is one where you are selling and you're selling. And so there is a little bit of testing, right?
Yes.
And understanding, click-through rates and sell-through rates. And then, like, if a recipe doesn't sell, knowing how to analyze that, knowing how to analyze it and then adjust and make changes. Like, that's testing and retesting is really what happens to every business and every business owner in every market ever, is that you have to really test to know and really see what your clients want. I mean, that's what we do with Pretty Focused too, And so, but I love that you're like, I love this challenge, because you are very analytical. So you love analyzing all of that to see what you can do and how you can get better and see what it is. And then whenever you're like, I am sure whenever you're like, okay, this is the issue, I fix the issue, and then it sells, and then something sells, you just feel so validated. You're like, how good am I? I was right. I found whatever it was. I think that it builds your confidence massively. So that's really cool. I love that. So those who are thinking about joining Pretty Focused, what's some advice that you have for them as a former student, as a grad, but also as a coach?
Well, first of all, if you're just thinking about it, just do it. If you have the means to do it, definitely it's worth the investment. Um, I know I earned my investment back within 6 weeks of graduating. Um, but everybody is different. I would say once you join the course, give yourself lots of grace. You are learning new skills, especially if you are coming in without any photography experience. And it is possible. We have coaches, we have lots of grads who came in without any photography
Mhm.
experience, and they are doing incredible things. Um, that's the one of the bigger things I see with students these days is they want to rush through. They want to, they are just, um, they're hard on themselves when they can't get a skill. We understand, we try to be as sweet as possible while being direct. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
You guys are the best.
and it's just give yourself time. Like we
Mhm.
aren't expecting perfection right out the gate. Like we're here to help and we want you to succeed. Like that's the biggest thing. Um,
Yeah. Well, and you guys were all there. Like,
yes.
you all have blurry photos
Oh yeah.
from your early days, you know? I
Yeah.
have blurry photos from that I gave to clients. And so our goal is to make sure that doesn't happen, that doesn't happen
Absolutely.
to our students and our
And
grads.
it's a lot of information to
Mhm.
digest. Like, yes, you go through and you have your homework assignments before practice, but I know once you get to that first practice, you wanna, like, remember all the things. It's just slow down. We have a process and just trust the process. Like,
Yeah,
we're gonna help you through. We are not going to just leave you and or just say, "Yeah, that looks good, move on." Like,
yeah,
we have very specific feedback for you.
yeah. Um, so I'm gonna kind of pivot and go back to the beginning a little bit of your beginning experience with Pretty Focused. Um, for you, because we talked about last night, like everybody has a like as a why as to why they joined. And what I mean, we talk about the big ones. We talk about financial freedom, we talk about the flexibility, we talk about um like time with family, and we talk about purpose. Those are like the big four that we hear a lot of. What was the biggest one for you that that led you to join Pretty Focused?
I think it was the, I would say financial freedom, but also kind of on that, putting pressure off my husband because
Mm,
he's amazing. He's supportive. Um, he likes his job, but he gets stressed. And having him be the breadwinner for like several months while I was trying to find myself, it was like, I want to take some pressure off of him. And there are some months where I've made enough money to more than enough money to support both of us. And so
wow.
knowing that that's that potential right there, it's like, that's incredible. Like the first month I did that, I just bawled. I was like, I can't believe I'm made it here. So that was a
Wow.
huge, and that was only 3 months after graduating.
Oh my
So that
gosh.
was, yeah, that was a huge deal that if I needed to, I could step up and be the breadwinner and give him a break for a while.
Wow, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. Um, so compared to your last corporate job, compared to or doing photography, what is your income like? Can I ask, like, are you making more? Do you make less? Do you make the same? Is it variable? What is it for you?
Variable right now because I've taken time off to do other things, but definitely more, like
Wow.
definitely a lot more.
Well, I mean, you're
Um,
going to Europe.
yeah.
You've gone to Europe 3 times. And
Yeah.
tell us why you have taken time off. Tell us a little bit more about what you have been up to the last couple of months.
So again, I love learning, and in a past life, I went to drama school and all that right after high school, and I decided last fall, like, let's just see if I can still do this acting thing. So I took an acting class, and that teacher was directing the musical at the college, and so I got cast in that musical, Anything Goes, kind of one of the bigger parts, which was surprising, and so I've been going to singing and dance rehearsals and acting rehearsals since the end of January, and we just closed the show this Sunday. We had 2 weeks of shows, so it was tiring. I got sick the last week. But it was great. And again, if I hadn't had Pretty Focused, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't have been able to take weeks at a time off from a corporate job.
Oh, because I mean, it was like 5 to 10, right? Is that what your
Yeah,
schedule was? 5 to 10 every night, 5 days a
almost
week?
every, yeah. I got some time off because I wasn't in the big tap dance number. So and so I got to have some nights off. But yeah, 5 to 10, um, Monday through Friday. And then the last few weeks were just, I had a tech weekend and then it was like every single day. And then we got 2 days off between shows. I ended up getting sick and having a bad allergic reaction. So I missed a rehearsal. They were freaking out that I had missed the show, but I went in there, covered up the rash, and like was just like, okay, let's go. And we finished strong. Like our last weekend, all the shows were sold out. So it was like sometimes 2 shows a day. So it was,
Wow.
but
My gosh.
I'm back. I'm and coaching still. I was still coaching. I was
You're
still
amazing. You are amazing, Alicia. And so you've been able to, I am sure, just through this and through these, I mean, I did like some musicals in high school, so I feel like I can relate just a little bit. They're such huge confidence boosters.
Yes.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, you are the discipline and the brain work it takes to memorize all of those roles, you know what I mean? It just is a huge exercise. So I'm so excited and so happy that you have had this experience, that you've been able to do this. We're so proud of you as a team. We've
Oh, thank
loved
you.
seeing all of the photos and stuff that you have posted. But I'm going to ask, I haven't actually asked anybody this. What do you think life would look like had you not joined Pretty Focused?
My gosh, I don't want to think about that. I mean, I would probably, I don't even know if I'd be able to be a photographer because it's hard to find those like corporate jobs. I made a vow to myself after I left that job. I'm like, I'm not going back to the corporate world. I just can't. But you know, you got to pay the bills. I mean, I live in Southern California. You can't go without a job. And rent keeps going up and up and up. So I think I definitely would have had the ability to travel. I wouldn't have been able to go back to acting. I would probably just be going 9 to 5 jobs, going back to being an admin assistant. And, you know, I would have missed my grandmother's funeral in October. I would have missed out on I wouldn't have been able to get a new car. Like I got a new car like a few years ago, and like I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the things that I have. I wouldn't afford to be a redhead.
Oh no. Oh my goodness.
I know. Yeah, I'd be in a job that I probably didn't really like, and then trying to hold on and maybe not even in California anymore. So it's sad to think about, Melody. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
So sorry to bring that up.
I wouldn't be able to help more students get where I am and have that freedom. Like that's even sadder.
Yeah. Well, what has it done like for your confidence level? Like what has it done for like your emotional well-being, being a part of not just like a job that you're fulfilled in, but being part of a community? Talk to me about that aspect.
This is such a great community, not only within the students, but within the coaches too. I mean, without getting into details, you know, I went through kind of a hard year last year, and having that support meant a lot to me. And even getting to you can probably say this, it's night and day where I was last summer to where I am now. And so without that support, and honestly, and just seeing the students interact with each other and all the support they have, there's no competition, there's no jealousy, there's nothing like that, which I love to see in a group of women and some men.
Yeah, they're the
It's
best.
yeah, it's I never thought there would be a community like that. Like,
Mm,
and
yeah.
it's so great to see everybody supporting each other. And like, it's a confidence boost also to be just like, to help those students. I mean, whenever I get to move somebody onto portfolio, I'm just like, I know I'm making their weekend because I'm on Friday. So it's like,
Yeah. You get the best day of the week.
I know I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, congratulations.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that so much. It's so cool. You're so good at what you do. We're so
Oh, thank
thankful that
you.
you're able to hop in there. I know. Okay, crying. I think this is Redonda. We love you,
Oh,
Alicia.
thank
So one person asked, like, were you still doing this as you're going through your production 5 to 10, and were you still shooting food? What did your workload look like during that time?
Oh my gosh, I was trying so hard to shoot food. Um, I did get a couple recipes out, I think I got some out in February. But I noticed there's some in my shop right now. I'm like, girl, what the heck? So I'm actually this week going to be reshooting those. I'm on spring break. Yay. I got a nice break from school for a minute. But it's again that accountability of, you know, can I keep producing this work at the level I want? I could have totally been throwing stuff out last minute, drinking 5 coffees and going to rehearsal. But at the end of the day, I thought, I don't want to do that. I want to produce the best work I can. So I
Mhm.
consciously took a step back the last few weeks. Like I said, I was coaching every Friday to like make sure
Girl,
everything's good there.
girl, that's amazing. And now, I mean, that was just the play. You're still in school. So
Yeah,
like you said, you're on spring break now, so you still have to finish out like a semester. So how do you balance going to school? Like, how many credits are you taking? Is it just the one class versus, working?
it's just one class. It's another acting class, but we have a show that we're doing in class, one performance on April 1st. And I'm just like, I still haven't learned those lines. And then we're doing another show after that. And then we do a one-man show for our final. And I'm just like, okay, like, so I've got a lot to do there this week and next week. But it's really the thing that I'm still struggling with. It's time management. It's it's just no, I know it's going to get done, and I'm a procrastinator. So it's just like, okay, I got to sit down. I got to figure out what is, prioritize and all that. Um, and some of the recipes I do a lot of no bakes, and those take a lot of time to like chill and everything. It's knowing, okay, I have to do these before the day before, then I can shoot. Or I'm doing reshooting a chocolate meringue pie. Okay, I got to make sure the crust is good and do all this and like really it's a lot of planning. It's not just, okay,
Yes, I
shoot.
started to say a lot of planning. Hey,
Yes.
I think Redonda had a great suggestion. Can you do a one-man show for Julia Child as Julia Childs making one of your beautiful recipes?
Oh, that would be great.
That would be funny. That'd be awesome. What are your what are the requirements for that one-man show?
I don't really remember.
Okay, yeah, we're not there yet. I
Yeah,
won't make you think about it.
yeah, she talked about it at the beginning of the semester, and I was everything's just disappear. Everything's been after the
Everything.
show, after the show, after the show. So
Yeah.
it's after the
So
show now.
it's after the show. Now you kinda gotta get back into the swing of things, huh?
Yeah.
But I think are you concerned now about, um, because we have people who step away and they come back. They
Mhm.
step away and they come back. We've had grads who've birthed children and then they've come back, or they've had major life, situations and they've been able to step away and then come back and jump into business. What are your thoughts on that? Are you, as you jump back in, like, were you nervous stepping away and pulling back? Or are you like, well, I'll just pick back up where I left off and just keep going?
Um, I mean, I am a little nervous about jumping back in. At the end of the day, it was for my own like mental and physical health. I could not do it. And it's like, I have
Yes.
to step back. The blog, we haven't really talked about, but the blogger community, I have, it's so supportive as well. I have yet to work with anybody who was just awful. Like they're all so sweet. Um, and we're all human, even us who've had years of experience and everything. I had a hair on one of my photos that I posted on a cupcake, and somebody messaged me. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I was afraid to message you, but there is a hair on one." I'm like, "Thank you." I'm like, "Don't be afraid. But tell me." So I went back and edited it. It's a quick fix. And I was like, "Okay, but we're human." She's like, "Oh, they're beautiful photos." I was like, "No, no, no. Thank you. Let me know these things because I
Yeah.
don't want that to be the reason that it's not selling." Like, I was like, I have 2 cats. Of course they're flying everywhere. And
Yes,
I mean,
yes. Just
as much as we try to like find that stuff, it's so hard. So
yeah.
the blogger community is great. They're supportive. I've taken a little bit of time, not this much time off before, but like some time off. Um, and honestly, as long as the photos and the quality are still there and they trust me now, you build that trust. I mean, I can't really be nervous about that. And then if there's something going on there, I'll find out and I'll shift. Like I send out surveys sometimes to my bloggers, like,
That's
what can I do?
perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
so great. Well, Alicia, thank you so much for joining us and sharing, I mean, just a little bit of your journey with us. I know we're trying to keep our grad interviews short because we could just sit here for
Oh
hours
yeah.
and talk to
Oh,
you.
yeah.
But I know we have things that we have to get done today. And so I just want to just thank you for just sharing with us. And we're so glad that you took that leap to join Pretty Focused and that you're able to share your experience and your knowledge, not just with the people here, but with the students as well as they're going through it and they're paving their own way. And so I just want to let you guys know, those of you who are thinking about enrolling, we have our 48-hour bonus that goes away at the end of the day tomorrow. So if you want that 48-hour bonus, which is a Q&A with me after you enroll, make sure that you enroll between now and the end of day tomorrow. But you guys, we thank you so much for being here. Alicia, thank you so much. And we will talk to you later.